Hey guys, Aaron here from Julie Guitars. As you can tell, I've just moved into a new workshop, so I haven't had time to make another guitar build video. I am working on a couple guitars, so stay tuned for those. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made the angled headstock Gibson style neck for my SG build in the last build video. A lot of you have been asking about this. It's the final boss of CNC milling. There's a bunch of different operations. You have to flip the part around in a bunch of different ways. So I'm going to walk you through how I made the fixture and how I did all the cam operations. So let's get started. All right, now I'm back in Fusion 360. This is the SG model that I worked off of from one of my last builds. And this is a model that I heavily modified. I got it from a website called Electric Herald, which I've talked about in the past. But the neck on this is about a 3-degree break angle. The headstock is at 14-degree angle. And then I made some changes. I added this volute. I made the neck a tiny bit thicker. And then I added this headstock inlay and veneer on the top here. And the first thing that you have to do when you take a model into a program like this and you want to start designing some CAD operations is you have to make the stock that you're going to mill those parts out of. So for this neck, I knew that because the neck angle is so strong here, I would have to use a really thick piece of wood if I wanted to just cut this out of a single blank. And especially if you're using like higher grade maple, it's really extremely difficult to find thick pieces like that. And even if you did, you probably wouldn't want to waste a bunch of it by cutting this whole section out down here. Okay, so I'm going to start rolling the timeline through here, and you can kind of see what I did. I'm not going to go through everything in detail, but I'm going to show you the general process. So the first thing I did was I created a sketch that, if I just show it here, was on the same plane as the headstock. I'll get rid of some of these other ones here. And I made this to be the length of the blank that I had. And then I extruded that and I sliced it on this, created a face and I sliced it on this plane. So this is going to give me my scarf joint. When I say plane, I mean the top of the neck here. This is going to give me my scarf joint angle, which will be 14 degrees because that's the angle of the headstock. And then if I keep moving along here, so when I do the slice on here, it actually generates two different bodies. And so I'll take the second body and I just flip it around and butt it up against this joint. And this is the same process that you do when you will actually cut the scarf joint and then glue it together. And then I created another block for the heel down here. So because this neck is thicker, and if I just hide this, you can see it's thicker than this 1 inch. I think it's like 0.85 inch blank. I need to add a little bit more material here, so I just glue on another block to fill out that section. Then from there, I have my neck blank. It's that easy. The next process will be actually creating a fixture, and this is what took the most time, is figuring out how to mill all of these different sections. So let me walk you through that now. Okay, so here's my basic fixture right here, and as you can see, I don't have all of the different parts that I have in my fixture that I use for my neck. It's because I'm just walking through how I built this out. And so I have this neck stock right here, and basically what I'm going to do is just take these parts, move them, and then realign them so that it's one long neck blank. So if I just re-enable some of these parts right here, you can see how I've done that. And so at this point, we basically just want to create some alignment pins in here so that when we flip parts, we can index them exactly where we need to on the fixture relative to this corner over here, where we'll index the CNC machine. After I have this piece here, I created another one here, and this is going to be for the back of the neck. So when I do the contour on the back of the neck, I'll do it right here. So I created one right here, and basically I just took this piece, flipped it over, and if I just enable some of these neck profile pieces, you can see what I've done here. So after I create the scarf joint, and I'll show you those operations in a second, I just flip this part over, and when I say this part, I mean this piece I created over here. I just copy pasted it over onto this section, and then I made sure to take these indexing pin marks that I've created over here and line them up on the board where I want them to be. So this will be the orientation that we use for the back of the neck, for the contour of the neck. And then we can't actually cut out the shape of the headstock at this point because it's at an angle. So you'd have kind of like an angled edge if you did it this way. And also it's very unstable because it's not attached to the fixture here. So that's why I created this other piece right here. And if I just hide some of these other ones, you can see that I just created this other one. So basically take the headstock and flip it around over here so that I can mill out this portion of the neck. The other thing that I did was, because some of these parts, and I should mention, by the way, that my CNC, this is set sideways on the table. The gantry moves across the top here, left and right. And so I want to make sure that if anything is sticking up off the table, it's far enough away from that gantry so that it doesn't catch when it's moving the bit around. That'd be really bad to knock your piece off the board and fly it across the workshop. So you want to make sure that when you actually create this fixture, and I'll show you in a sec, I'm going to add some holes here for attaching it to my CNC. You want to make sure that these are pretty close to the edge so that you have enough room for this piece to stick up over here. That's the hardest challenge with doing these angled headstocks, is that you can't mill them perfectly flat like you can with the fender style neck. So there has to be at least one operation or a couple operations where it sticks off the table like this. If I scroll the way to the end, you can see I also created these little parts to kind of support the neck when it's in this phase as well. I have a 3D printer, so I just made them with my 3D printer. They don't have to be super strong, but I did use some PETG. This is the same part, it's just moved over here, so that's why I have two of them. But yeah, these screw into the table with some threaded inserts and bolts so that I can reuse them, and I can also slide this back and forth to get a perfect, nice, snug fit. All right, so I just went into the manufacture tab, and let's talk through some of these different operations that we have to run here. So the first one, as I mentioned, and let me just hide these sketches as well. First one, as I mentioned, is just going to be to drill some indexing holes. And I use these metal pins that I also use on my bodies and fender style necks, actually, to just hold the pieces in place. I use 4 of them just because there's some of these operations are a little bit more aggressive with the angled headstock, so I would just want to make sure that they're held really snugly in place while I'm doing that. The first one will be obviously the fixture. So I mean, this, if you've seen my other fender style CNC videos, you'll know how I make these. Basically just do a contour around the outside, I'll bore out the holes, and then I pocket out these little channels, and these show me where I need to align the piece, as well as how thick the piece, or how wide it should be actually. And then from there, I did create this support fixture. I didn't talk about this earlier, but when I actually mill out the truss rod, part of the truss rod goes into the scarf joint, and so I want to be able to mill that after I glue up the scarf joint. So I have this support fixture, which basically just, and if I run through here, you can see what it's doing. It's just basically creating an angle so that I can lift the piece up and lay it perfectly flat on top of the table when I do my drill out for the truss rod. So that's what that one is doing. And for this, I'm just doing a couple contours. I do an adaptive clearing. If you want to know how to do adaptive clearing, look at my fender style CNC video. And then I scallop out the top here. Scallop is a 3D operation. You can come in here and see, and I believe my step over is like very small, 0.035 or something like that, just to get a really nice clean edge here. And then I do bore holes in here because I need to be able to align this piece perfectly on the table. And so if you look at this without that piece on there, you'll see that there's these holes there for my alignment pins. Okay, so the first thing I do on the actual neck blank is just face the stock. The thickness of this piece of stock is about 0.85 inches. So I'll run the facing operation over the top and get it down to that thickness. Sometimes I will do a facing operation with no offset, and then I'll just basically lower the machine down and keep resetting the Z index. But for this one, I just set it at the bottom. It doesn't really matter what you do, just whatever works for you. And then from there, I do the alignment holes like I talked about earlier. First operation, I just contour out the piece so that it's the same size as this channel. The reason why I make the length and width here the exact length and width of this channel is so that when I glue up the scarf joint, I can set the side of this up against a flat edge, and it makes my scarf joint perfectly straight. And then this last part here is I'm just tracing. I have this 45, I think it's 45, or might be like a 60-degree bit actually. I'm just tracing a line where I need to cut out my scarf joint. And so once I have that, I'll take my protractor and I'll mark a line from this edge all the way to the other side, and I will take it to the bandsaw. Now there is a little bit of slop here that I accounted for, and you'll see that in the next step. And so if I am wildly off when I do my cut on the bandsaw, it doesn't really matter because it'll just get milled out. So then the next step is doing an operation on each side of that scarf joint. As I mentioned, I take it to the bandsaw and I cut out the scarf joint. And when it comes out of the bandsaw, it's pretty rough. So I'll go to the headstock portion of it, and I'll put those indexing pins back on the board, and I'll just do an adaptive rough cut to take it down to scarf joint cut that I want it to be at. And then I'll also run a scallop operation on this. And for the scallop operation on this, you just want to make sure that you go over the edge a little bit, because you don't want any ridges on the edge, or else you have to do a lot of sanding to get it out. When you do a lot of sanding on a scarf joint, it means that your scarf joint might not be perfect. So I just recommend when you set up the operations for this, you make sure that it goes over the edge a little bit. And then I'll do that same 2 operations on the other side of the neck. So for this one, I actually flipped it over, and it's okay because these indexing pins channels go all the way through. So I just flipped it over and I run the same operation on the other side. So first the adaptive rough cut and then the scallop. From here, I go into my truss rod operation. So you'll notice that it's floating right here. The reason why it's floating is because I don't have that support fixture model shown right here, but basically it's just the height of that support fixture and the end of it comes down here. And actually I can just turn it on here so you can see what it looks like. So you can see that it's perfectly aligned right here, and it's the angle of the headstock right here, so it supports the headstock. If you don't get your glue up perfect, you might see a little bit of a gap here, but the first operation that we do will be to just do another face on the top of this. And so even if there's a little bit of a gap here, the main thing is we just want to make sure that this is the exact correct thickness. Otherwise, when we glue the fretboard on and do some of the other operations, it might get kind of wonky. Then after that, we'll go ahead and pocket out the truss rod. So you can see here that there is a little bit of a gap here. And so I'll do the pocket on this side, pocket on this side, and then actually we'll drill a hole after the CNC operations here are done to connect this channel to this channel. And then I do one more contour just to widen this hole a little bit. I find that it works a little bit better if you first do the pocket and then you run around the outside with just a very small cut to get it the perfect size. Finally, I'll go to the heel, and if you remember, there's kind of a step down here where the fretboard ends. So this is partially for alignment, but also partially because the pick guard sits on this and it needs to be flush with the body. So there's this little step down here, and then there needs to be room for the pickup. So that's why I'm hogging out this material here. I do want to mention that this is actually not the full depth of the pickup pocket, but I can't go all the way through because at this point I still need to glue on my heel joint. If I did that, I would just go right into my fixture and not hog out enough material on the heel joint. So we will just end up cutting this off with the bandsaw and filing down to get it to the right depth. Okay, so then the next step will be taking that piece off, flipping it over, and then we are going to do the neck carve. The neck carve is very similar to the fender style necks if you've seen my fender style CNC video. First operation is just an adaptive rough cut, and you'll notice that I don't go all the way up here. I don't do an adaptive on this volute, and we will handle that in a different operation, but there's some weird geometry here that you can't quite get with a operation that's facing down like this, so we will handle it in a later step. Okay, so if I click into this operation, you can see my machining boundaries, and this is just going to depend on your neck, but I found it works the best if I set it like this, so I don't go past this like little volute. If I had like a straight line where I could just go straight across here, I think it'd be fine, but the way my sketches in my geometry where I couldn't do that, so I just did it here. That's okay, because later on we'll come back, and when we mill this part of the neck, we can cover this right here. So going back into here, I use that same boundary when I do my contour, go around the edge of the neck here in the back, and then I go all the way up here. And I actually separated this into two operations because this part was much higher. So I ended up stopping here, just going around a couple times. And then I went all the way through on the second pass and took it all the way up to that line up here. Then we'll do parallel finishing pass like we did on the fender style neck. And then the thing that's a little bit different here is I actually put my angle on my neck heel instead of in the neck pocket. I find it's actually just a bit easier to do at this stage than when you're machining the body, because you have to lift the entire body up versus just milling flat down. For me, this is key, and this is one of the biggest things I wanted to get right when I modified those SG files. This is how PRS does it as well. So you want to, just figure out what works for your process, but I found that for me and the way my CNC is set up, I liked doing this instead. You will have some machining lines, but you can just sand those out later. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so after we get the contour set up, we'll take the piece and we'll flip it around here. I should mention on both these steps, we do have that little supporting piece down here. But I will start off with the same kind of adaptive rough cut on this section. If I click into this, you can see that I set my boundary here, and this is just some chains on the model that I selected. And then I pocket out the depth of the headstock back here. So I just take it down to the full depth. I'll do a contour around the edge of the neck. So this actually cuts the piece out, so you want to make sure you have tabs here to hold it in place, and that everything is firmly taped down with the blue painter's shape trick here to make sure that it doesn't come off. Then I'll do a parallel finishing pass like I did on the back of the neck, and I do a corresponding one here, and I do them at different angles just because I think I get better results. So this one is side to side, and if you look at this one, it's up and down. And this is just on the back of that volute. Then I drill out the holes for the mounting points for the tuners, and then I just bore out the holes for the actual tuner posts. And I should mention that at this point I had the back of the heel already on the neck, and I did have an operation to just mill that out so it's the perfect size. This doesn't actually need to be milled. As long as it's roughly the right size, you can just glue it on the back. But yeah, that's it. That's everything you need to know to make a neck. Obviously, there's a lot of time that you need to spend kind of creating your own fixture here. The process will differ depending on how your neck is set up, so I recommend just learning how to do this, and you should be in a really good place to build whatever you want. All right, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with all my builds. If you have any ideas for what I should build next, feel free to leave a comment down below. But until then, I'll see you next time.